BYD has been accused of slave labor in its factory in Brazil. Now, I often don't do videos on these types of stories because I'm not really sure if they're true, but unfortunately in this case, this story has been 100% confirmed to be accurate. Hello my friends, welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans, you're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. And I want to welcome all the new subscribers, about 20,000 new subscribers over the past 4 weeks. Guys, welcome to the channel. I have done 6,500 videos over the last 3.5 years. So if you want to see the videos that I do, you probably have to click on the actual channel because most of those you won't see otherwise. Now, there is various stories floating around, but all of them seem to be pointing to the one reality, which is that unfortunately BYD in Brazil have gotten a contractor to build their factory for them. The connection between that contractor and BYD, we don't know if that's really part of the BYD company themselves. They could be, can't confirm that. But here's a report from Car Scoops. They say that 163 workers have been rescued from shocking slave-like conditions at BYD's construction site in Brazil. I want to confirm, this is not workers that work in the factory. The factory is being built there. It hasn't been completed. Now, the Brazilian government has stepped in and they have actually shut down the site. So there's no one on the site at the moment. I'm assuming that they'll get underway soon, probably within the next few days after some kind of agreement has been signed. Now, keep in mind, this is Brazil. They don't exactly have the greatest human rights records, but authorities say workers were sleeping on beds without mattresses, eating dirty food, and had to share one bathroom among 31 people. To tell you the truth, the part about the sleeping on beds without mattresses, that did surprise me a little bit. Surely it can't cost much to get a mattress. I mean, surely it wouldn't be any more than like $20 to get, just some thin piece of foam or something to stick on one of these beds. So that did surprise me. Now, these aren't Brazilians that have been working in this factory. They are actually Chinese people that have been brought over from China. BYD has been aggressively expanding worldwide, and I've many times marveled, just been blown away at the speed of their expansion. It's like, how the hell are they doing this? I probably have said that at least 100 times. How is BYD building these factories so fast? How are they coming into these old factories? I mean, BYD has taken over Ford's factory in Brazil. They took that over. They converted that into an EV factory within a couple of months. I just can't understand the speed at which they're doing it. They're so much faster than everyone else. Looks like this could be part of the reason. So the momentum at the factory has screeched to a halt because Brazilian authorities were alerted. They have halted construction on the new manufacturing plant. What's going to happen to this factory? I don't know, but I'm guessing money speaks. So I'd assume that production will get underway with some changes. According to government officials in Brazil, the construction company responsible for the project, called Yin Yang Construction, treated its 163 workers like modern-day slaves. These workers were hired in China by a separate firm, were allegedly brought to Brazil through irregular and highly questionable means. I'm not sure what those means were. To make matters worse, over 100 of them had their passports confiscated by the Chinese construction company, so they couldn't leave. They were trapped in these exploitative conditions. Now, were their passports really confiscated? I don't know. And they might not have been. Maybe the company just, held on to them for whatever reason. When I've done a few trips in China, my passport has been taken from me, sometimes for a couple of days. But there was nothing that I thought, anything bad about. But it does look like if your passport is taken from you and you're there for months, that is putting you in a position where you're stuck. You have no choice but to keep sleeping on a bed, which is not even a bed. The conditions were truly brutal, say the media. The workers lived on the construction site. The accommodations offered by the company included beds without mattresses, and in one case, one bathroom for 31 workers. As such, an official report from the government says workers would often wake up at around 4 a.m. so that everyone could have access to the restroom before beginning work at 5:30 a.m. These workers must have been so tired. I mean, getting up at 4 a.m. every day, I don't understand that. That's crazy. Here's another quote. In one of the rooms occupied by a cook, pots with prepared food were found left open on the floor, exposed to dirt and without refrigeration, to be served the following day, says the Public Labour Prosecutor's Office. As if that weren't bad enough, the construction company Yinyang Construction Brazil Limited, based in Sichuan, China, made life harder when it came to pay and job freedom. The workers were required to pay a deposit, had 60% of their wages withheld. What? I'm just reading this and thinking, what the hell? Pay a deposit and have 60% of their wages withheld, receiving only 40% in Chinese currency, faced excessive costs for terminating their contracts, and had their passports withheld by the company. Wow. These conditions were bad enough that Yinyang Brazil Limited is now prohibited from continuing its operations. While the workers will remain in the same accommodations for the time being, they're no longer allowed to work for Yinyang. Authorities are scheduled to meet with BYD and Yinyang on the 26th to determine the next steps. Now, what concerns me, if this Chinese construction and automotive engineering company is actually doing this in Brazil, I'm assuming they're probably doing similar things in China. Hopefully not, but one would suspect this might be happening. Alexander Boldi, the Senior Vice President of BYD Brazil, said, BYD Auto Brazil reiterates its commitment to full compliance with Brazilian legislation, especially with regard to the protection of workers' rights and human dignity. Guys, I will be affected by making this video and by making the comment that I'm about to make. I'm sure BYD won't be happy about it. I will actually at some point have to pay a cost for this. I guarantee it. But here goes. BYD, this is not good enough. You knew about this. Don't lie. There is no way you didn't inspect the factory, didn't inspect these conditions ever. There's no way that none of your staff were not aware of what was going on. Admit to this, claim some form of ownership, and you know what? Stop trying to obfuscate. They're just blaming everything on their contractor. Yeah, the contractor did this, but BYD is working with the contractor. They're responsible for their actions, at least partly. BYD is already the top-selling EV brand in Brazil. However, this new facility was supposed to come online next year. This is unclear how this controversy will impact the company's plans in Brazil. Unclear whether or not now Brazil's factories that are going up around the world will be inspected more. They should be. Unclear of whether this has been happening at other BYD plants, other BYD factories. I don't know. Guys, you know I'm not a huge fan of unions because I don't believe they protect workers. But in this case, wow, a union maybe would have been useful. I don't know what to say because I honestly feel sick just reading this stuff. I think, imagine yourself being in that position. Imagine your son. Just pretend one of your sons was working there in the factory, dealing with this with no way out.